On the news tonight, President Tinubu presents 2025 budget to the National Assembly with defense and security as priority. ECOWAS ready for single currency in 2027. NNPCL, Dangote refinery trade wars over $1 billion investment. And from the foreign scene, suspect detained in Moscow over killing of Russia top general. Good evening and welcome to Major Report. I am Kayode Adebayo. President Bola Tinubu has revealed that his administration is earmarking 4.91 trillion naira for defense and security for the 2025 fiscal year, while infrastructure, health, and education will get 4.06 trillion naira and 2.48 trillion naira and 3.5 trillion naira respectively. President Tinubu said this when he presented the 2025 appropriation bill to a joint session of the 10th National Assembly in Abuja. The appropriation bill is titled the Restoration Budget, Securing Peace, Building Prosperity. While highlighting the 2025 budget allocations, he emphasized that his administration's decisions are deliberate and resolute, noting that the priorities are clear. According to the President, government significantly increased the funding for the military, paramilitary, and police forces to secure the nation, protect the borders, and consolidate government control over every inch of the country's territory. Tinubu affirmed that the government will continue to provide security forces with the modern tools and technology they need to keep the country safe, adding that boosting the morale of the men and women in the armed forces will remain his government's top priority. Osun First Lady Chief Mrs. Titilola Adeleke has advised the beneficiaries of 200,000 naira festive grant from Nigeria's First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu to ensure its judicious use. Mrs. Adeleke, who gave the advice during the disbursement of the largesse held at the Local Government Service Commission Hall, Abere, lauded Senator Oluremi Tinubu's unwavering support for humanity. Here is the report as presented from our studios.
Disbursing the 200,000 naira each to the beneficiaries on behalf of Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the wife of Osun State Governor, Mrs. Titilola Adeleke, quoted Senator Tinubu as saying that the governing board of the Renewed Hope Initiative decided to jack up the elderly support grant from 100,000 naira to 200,000 naira to provide further support to the 250 aged 65 and above across the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory, so as to ease their financial burden during these festive periods. The Nigeria's First Lady, who reiterated that the country's advancement and dividends are the right of all and sundry, irrespective of political affiliations, maintained that veterans from the Defense and Police Officers' Welfare Association, among others, are also considered for the grant. She urged them to imbibe regular check-up, personal hygiene, free their minds of worries, eat balanced diet, sleep well, do exercise, and stay hydrated for healthy living.
I congratulate all our senior citizens who have been selected as beneficiaries. I urge you all to take good care of your health, even as we all enjoy and celebrate in the festive season.
In their separate goodwill messages, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Children Affairs, Honorable Sekinat Khalid, State PDP Women Leader, Mrs. Alice Otunla, PDP Southwest Women Leader, Mrs. Atinuke Oyawuyi, Iyaloja General in Osun State, Mrs. Mary Oyebode, wife of Osun Head of Service, Mrs. Mojisola Aina, Babaloja's representative, Chief Muibi Oyawuyi, among others, applauded Senator Oluremi Tinubu's zeal and soft support for humanity and prayed God to continue to guide and strengthen her in further service to humanity. They eulogized Mrs. Adeleke for her good representation at the federal level, which has birthed several benefits for the people of Osun State. Highlights of the occasion, aside disbursement of grant, was medical check-up for all the beneficiaries to ascertain their health status and symbolic presentation of checks.
The Economic Community of West African States is ramping up preparations to introduce its single currency, ECO, following a consensus reached during its 65th ordinary session. This announcement was made in a communique released after the 66th ordinary session of the heads of state and government meeting, which was held in Abuja. The rollout of the HEPCO, initially scheduled for launch in 2020, was postponed due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, while the new target date for its introduction is set for 2027. The heads of state called on the high-level committee and the ECOWAS Commission to accelerate efforts to meet the established deadlines for creating and operationalizing the institutions essential for the ECO's launch. Additionally, the authority endorsed the high-level committee's recommendations regarding the financial aspects, costs, funding sources, and modalities necessary for implementing the reforms and institutions required for the ECO's launch. The introduction of the ECOWAS currency is expected to facilitate trade and stimulate economic growth within the region. The federal government has stated that it will establish a youth bank to offer loans, grants, and other financial products to support young entrepreneurs, fostering innovation and job creation. The Minister of Youth Development, Mr. Adeleke, stated this at a media parley in Abuja. According to the minister, efforts are underway to have a Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan to address the country's unemployment problem. He said the bank will provide education, training, and employment opportunities. Olawande said that the ministry also unveiled the Youth Activities Dashboard, where activities and initiatives will be displayed. The African Development Bank, International Finance Corporation, and a U.S. International Development Finance Corporation have partnered to invest $45 million into vaccine production in Africa. According to a statement from AFDB's website, the move is a significant effort to strengthen public health and improve vaccine access in Africa. According to AFDB, the $45 million investment addresses critical gaps in global vaccine supply chains, paving the way for improved resilience against pandemics and preventable diseases, while also supporting several key development goals. Indeed, the African continent is still heavily dependent on vaccine imports, producing only about 1% of the vaccines it administers. The Director of Non-Sovereign Operations and Acting Director of Industrial and Trade Development, AFDB, Osun, said the agency is honored to support the critical initiative, which aligns with its 2030 vision and action plan for the development of Africa's pharmaceutical industry. The Deputy Director of DFC, Nesha Biswa, also said the agency is proud to have supported IPD, saying it will enhance IPD's ability to produce a variety of vaccines beyond its traditional focus on yellow fever vaccines. The Vaccine Network for Disease Control has called for an urgent need for timely budget releases of vaccine funds to strengthen immunization programs to address the growing challenge of children who have never received any vaccines. Head of programs at VNDC, Chika Nwankwo, stated this at the sidelines of a capacity building workshop on media advocacy for vaccination financing in Abuja. He highlighted notable progress made under the current administration, but emphasized that delays in funding releases still pose significant hurdles to ensuring vaccine reach underserved areas. The organization called for a simplified fund release process of budgetary allocation for vaccines, stressing that the extant process is cumbersome and time-consuming, with avoidable implications for the intended health outcomes of vaccination. It also stressed that the wake-up call becomes imperative as Nigeria remains the country with the highest number of zero-dose children, reflecting critical gaps in immunization coverage. The VNDC, however, underscores the need for media support in amplifying advocacy to policymakers and other critical stakeholders to reinforce their support for vaccine financing and the general public's education on the importance of children's vaccination and why they should demand it as a matter of right. You are now welcome to our commercial segment. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has revealed that the federal government, through the company, took a loan of $1 billion to support the Dangote refinery project when it encountered some financial difficulties. NNPC's head of corporate communications, Olufemi Shoneye, made the disclosure during his remarks at the Energy Relations Stakeholder Engagement in Abuja, highlighting the achievements of the Apex National Oil Company under the leadership of Malam Mele Kyari. Shoneye said NNPC Limited has achieved groundbreaking milestones redefining the trajectory of Nigeria's oil and gas sector. According to him, the restart of the Porako refinery marks a significant turning point in Nigeria's quest for energy self-sufficiency, reaffirming the company's commitment to revitalizing the nation's refining capacity. He said the NNPC has also championed the adoption of compressed natural gas as an alternative energy source, offering Nigerians a cleaner and more cost-effective solutions amidst rising global energy costs, among other achievements. Meanwhile, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has stated that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited provided inaccurate and misleading information regarding the details of its $1 billion investment in the refinery's operations. Responding in a statement after receiving numerous inquiries from concerned stakeholders, the Group Chief Branding and Communication Officer, Anthony Chiejina, described NNPCL claim as misinformation. According to him, it is inaccurate to say NNPCL facilitated $1 billion for Dangote Refinery amid liquidity challenges. He stressed that the facts were misrepresented in a manner that misguides stakeholders and the public about the nature and extent of the investment. The company clarified that the $1 billion crude-backed loan is only 5% of the total investment that went into the building of the 650,000 barrels per day refinery. The midstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authority has shut down 8 petrol stations in Warri and its environs for various violations, including under-dispensing fuel, operating without licenses, poor safety measures, and poor housekeeping practices. The agency's coordinator in Delta State, Engineer Victor Owodiasa, disclosed this during a press briefing in Warri. The affected petrol stations located in areas such as Ife-Ekoro, Oguoton, Ubeji, Efron Sapele Road, and Owian community in Udu local government area were sanctioned after a surveillance exercise conducted. He explained that the routine surveillance was part of the authority's mandate to ensure that petroleum product users receive accurate quality and quantity. He added that penalties had been imposed on the airing stations in line with authorities' guidelines, warning that repeat offenders will face stiffer sanctions. You are now welcome to our commercial segment.
Natural tomato paste.
Mealtime is game on. Meet my Sure Bet Game Changer, made from natural ingredients.
You are welcome back. A major restructuring of the insurance industry is imminent with the passage of a bill by the Senate to amend the laws and refocus the subsector in line with current realities. The bill, passed by the Red Chamber after considering the report of the Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, upgrades the minimum capital for reinsurance firms to a minimum of 35 billion naira. Apart from reinsurance, the proposal known as the 2024 Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Bill puts non-life insurance capital base at 15 billion naira and life assurance at 10 billion naira. The current minimum capital limits of the 3 classes are 10 billion naira for reinsurance firms, 2 billion naira for life, and 3 billion naira for non-life insurance organizations. However, stakeholders in the insurance business have indicated that the 15 billion naira proposed capital base for non-life business would likely result in merger and acquisition, as many of the 67 companies might be unable to raise the funds. Meanwhile, the sector's regulator, the National Insurance Commission, declined to speak on the bill because it has not been passed by the House of Representatives to ensure concurrence. Comrade Adeyemi Aboderin has been elected as the president of the Osun State Broadcasting Corporation Staff Cooperative Investment and Credit Society Limited, Osogbo TVR. Comrade Aboderin won the election with 80 votes, defeating his opponent who secured 42 votes. In his acceptance speech, Comrade Aboderin promised to prioritize the interests of cooperative members and run an all-inclusive administration. He also thanked the management and members of the TV Cooperative Society for their support. The election was attended by notable figures including the Director General Permanent Secretary of OSBC, Mrs. Jolade Garola, General Manager Radio, Mr. Tunde Ogotomi, other members of the management and representatives from the Ministry of Cooperative and Empowerment. The newly elected executives include the President, Comrade Yemi Aboderin, Vice President 1, Lekan Busari, Vice President 2, Lateef Adebisi, Secretary Kunle Salami, Olawumi Olaniyi as ex-official 1, Aremu Awolola as ex-official 2, while Treasurer is Kazim Ajibade. This development is a significant milestone for the Cooperative Society, and it is expected to bring about positive changes for its members. The Northern Christian Youth Professionals has commended President Bola Tinubu for granting free nationwide train transportation to commuters during this festive season. The statement issued by the chairman, Isaac Abrak, said, "It is yet another demonstration of the President's compassion for the common man and his commitment to ensuring that his reform policies bring tangible benefits to all Nigerians." According to him, by alleviating the financial burden of travel, this initiative will enable more Nigerians to celebrate the season with ease, thereby making the festivities even more enjoyable. He, however, appealed to the management of Nigerian Railway Corporation to address operational challenges that hindered the smooth implementation of the initiative last year, so that the situation does not repeat itself. The National Bureau of Statistics has revealed that Nigerians paid a total of 2.23 trillion naira as ransom over the 12-month period between May 2023 and April this year, highlighting the growing threat posed by criminal activities in the country. According to the NBS latest Crime Experience and Security Perception Survey report, an estimated 51.89 million crime incidents were recorded across Nigerian households in the reference period. The survey showed that the Northwest region had the highest incidence of crime, with 14.4 million cases reported, and followed by North Central region with 8.8 million incidents. In contrast, the Southeast region reported the least crime with 6.18 million incidents. The NBS Statistics.com report that several northern states have resorted to vigilance corps and private security personnel to complement the federal government's efforts in the fight against banditry, terrorism, and kidnapping. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the Interior Minister Olugbemi Tunji and the Nigerian Immigration Service to always ensure that applicants who met all the requirements are issued international passports within 6 weeks and in compliance with Section 9, Subsection 4 of the Immigration Act 2015. Justice Emeka Nwite issued the order in the judgment on the fundamental right enforcement suit filed by an aggrieved Nigerian, Benita Ngozi Ezumezu, with the NIS and the Interior Minister listed as respondents. Benita claimed to have applied for Nigeria's international passport and met all the requirements, but the NIS failed to issue her the passport 14 weeks later. In the judgment delivered, Justice Nwite rejected the respondent's argument, upheld the applicant's claim, and granted all the relief sought by the applicant. Justice Nwite, who awarded 3 million naira damages against the respondents and in favor of the applicant, declared that Beninta had fulfilled all the requirements and was qualified to be issued a passport within 6 weeks. The judge also declared that the respondent's failure to issue the applicant passport 14 weeks after meeting all requirements violated Section 9, Subsection 4 of the Immigration Act 2015 and the applicant's right to freedom of movement. He proceeded to issue an order directing the first respondent to issue the applicant passport forthwith, as stipulated in the Section 9 Subsection 4 of the Immigration Act 2015. You are now welcome to our sports segment. Following the goalkeeping crisis that has engulfed the club, South Africa Premier League side Kisachi has concluded plans to table offers for Nigerian Super Eagles and Chippa United goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali. The Amakoshi initially showed interest in the 28-year-old short-stopper last season, but failed to agree with Chippa United on financial grounds. According to the update from South Africa, the club is ready to return for Nwabali, who has signed a 3-year extension with Chippa United. The Nigerian international has been one of the best performers in the league this season, having recorded 4 clean sheets in 11 games. Now from the foreign scene, Russia's security service says it detained a 29-year-old man from Uzbekistan over the assassination of General Igor Krylov. According to Russia's security service, a 29-year-old Uzbekistan citizen has been detained in Moscow over the killing of top General Igor Krylov. Russian state agency TASS reported that the man was recruited by Ukrainian intelligence. Ukraine's security service claimed responsibility for Krylov's death. Krylov, the head of the Russian military's nuclear, biological, and chemical protection forces, was killed in an explosion outside an apartment building from a remotely detonated device hidden in an electric scooter. His assassination came a day after Ukraine's security service opened a criminal investigation against him, accusing him of directing the use of banned chemical weapons. An official with the SBU, who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to release the information, described Krylov as a war criminal and an entirely legitimate target. And that ends the major report on OSBC TV. Thank you for watching. Good night.